What I want to talk about today is information and the authenticity of information. How do we get information? When I was a student and in my youth, uh, okay, 80s and 90s, I mean, 90s I was in MBBS and beyond. That time, surprising at that point of time, just can you remember? I mean, many of you might be remembering. All your information came from authorized textbooks, sometimes government issued by the government, and sometimes and books, of course, books which were actually by well-known publishers. And then, of course, there were TV channels, and that too were like authorized. You knew this was from Doordarshan, this is from BBC. These content were something like curated content. Okay, it was supposed to be, not always, but it was supposed to be manned by people, journalists, other regulators who were really rather experienced and expert at curating information, looking at information, collecting information, and checking it for authenticity, whether they were correct or not. Of course, there were so many pitfalls in that process, especially with regard to textbooks and official TV channels where the government had all the say in that. But the problem is that at that point of time, it is very difficult to get information. Okay, to do my even to during my MS thesis, the internet had just come, and most of the collection of materials and papers were from physical libraries. You had to go down to the basement and just rummage through all the journals from 1960s and 70s. So it was horrible. But now you can just go to the internet and try that. But the problem is now we are inundated with a lot of information. And now studies have shown that most people get their information from WhatsApp forwards and Facebook and other social media. Okay, are they very good sources of information? And what are the problems that can come? This is a new experiment in human sociology, some would say. A famous sociologist had said that this is the greatest uncontrolled experiment in human history. This much of uncurated information bombarded to children. You see, our children are all brought up on WhatsApp forwards and full time videos which we don't know the authenticity of. And what will happen to their brains by watching all these videos all the time and by being online all the time? We have no idea. Of course, I am not saying that it is evil. It is definitely these developments can be used for good, and they must be largely good. But we should understand that there is a problem here of how to get authentic information. There are many barriers to getting authentic information. And the most important thing are our own and biases and intentions of those who send out propaganda material. Okay, there can be many biases from our own side to understand and process what is good. We may have confirmation bias where we may pick out only information that actually reinforces our beliefs. We may have some beliefs which may be political, which may be religious, or it may be even academic beliefs which may be wrong. You may be on one side of a very complex question, academic question, but you will pick out information that is only supporting your side of the argument, or which is refuting the opposite side of the argument. That's very common, confirmation bias. Then there are many other biases which maybe we can talk about later. And there may be biases of people who may put in propaganda material. By propaganda, I mean motivated information. Okay, information that is given to the express purpose of misleading you, or it may be disinformation or it may be misinformation. There are various types. This we can discuss. So we have to be aware of that, and there are various methods of finding out. It's not very easy, but there are. We can discuss them. If you can, just put it in the comments. what are your experiences with information? Are the new information overload? How can you manage them? How can we understand what is genuine information or not? This is just to understand how people pick out genuine information. Okay, and then we can maybe go ahead in the next videos how to, what are our own biases, what are the biases of others, what are the usual propaganda material that can come, and how actually you can uh, as far as possible pick out the correct information. Okay.